So this is Hayley from Merit Skills. We're now going to look at how to create assessments for our learners. So you've logged into your main page, selected the learner that you want to create an assessment for. In an ideal world, you would have already created your plan and you'd be able to go into the assessment that you've got in your tasks and complete the assessment this way, attaching your evidence, selecting your criteria and signing it off. However, if you haven't created a plan for a learner and you need to create an assessment, the way to do that is to go into the pending assessments, create assessment, so you're out with the learner right now and you're doing an observation. Oops. Put the date in just so it can be really clear that that's when you were doing your observation. You're doing it holistically against the criteria, nothing specific. It's asking you to select the criteria that your observation has met. So there's two ways in which you can view it. You can view it like this. This is the way I prefer because it's a lot bigger and I can see a lot clearer what's involved in that unit. Or you can see it what's called a tree view. So it looks like this and you click into them, all the units are there, then the different outcomes are there, and then the different criteria. I find that way a lot more clicky and I prefer a gap analysis view. So I've done my observation. I know that it meets all of this criteria. It went into this unit as well, covered some of those, covered a few of those, but didn't cover all of this. So I'm selecting the criteria which my assessment meets. Save and quit. So if it's a handwritten observation, scroll down, you've got your evidence attachments here. So you can attach whatever evidence it is that you've generated. If it's a paper-based piece of evidence, if it's a recorded piece of evidence, if it's a video, be careful with videos if they're too long. Onefile won't allow you to upload them. So I don't recommend using videos really, unless you're doing it directly from the offline app. So whatever evidence it is that you've generated, you select the files of where that could possibly be on your laptop. So we're going to go with this. I'm then going to, because that's the one I've just uploaded, I'm going to attach it to my assessment. So now I've got my criteria that it met. I've got my attached piece of evidence. Now that was a recording that I did while I was out in the field with my learner and I provided them with feedback on the recording, which is clearly recorded. So here I'm going to write C recording for the feedback to the learner. However, if you have not given feedback to the learner verbally, you need to write feedback to the learner in this box. We should always be giving feedback to our learners every time they produce any evidence. Great observation today. Really detailed view of how you complete your daily tasks. Can't spell. Really great work towards your qualification and these units. Well done. It was a face-to-face visit. It took me 20 minutes to get to where I was going and I was with that learner for an hour. Nothing off the job. I'm then going to tick that off, save and quit. That now bounces back to David, who then logs in and agrees to that assessment. Once he's logged in and agreed to that assessment, his percentage will shift. So that's how you create an assessment if you haven't planned for it. So if you have planned for the assessment, your task will be up here. And it says complete assessment observation. So I'm planning to observe David. So this is the assessment that I set myself to do today. And I follow exactly the same process. I go in, I select my criteria. The only difference is I'm not having to do that bit at the start where I was saying what it was I was doing, observation, the date, because I've already planned for it. So that is how I create assessments for my learners. Any questions, please contact your line manager or speak with your quality and compliance manager. Thank you.